Athletes in Motion Sports Television comes to you from Grayland, Washington, as we present the sport of jet ski free ride. Big airs, big surf at the Grayland Open. Today we sit down to discuss this incredible event, the Grayland Open, with Dan Lindgren and the superstar athletes. Hello everybody, I'm Paul Higgins, and as you can tell, we do have a fantastic show coming to you from Grayland, Washington for the Grayland Open, one of my favorite events of the year. And joining me today, we have the director of the event, and we'll be visiting with some of the top riders in the Grayland Open in this sport, and it is a fantastic sport. First of all, we have Dan Lindgren. He's the reason why we're here. He's responsible for this event, putting this entire event together, and he does a fantastic job. Not only is he a rider, but he's a professional at what he does with the event. Also joining us, and he represents one of many companies, but we have to say Blosian, is Randy Lawlor, and it's a family affair with the Lawlors, and we'll talk about that. But gentlemen, welcome. What a picture-perfect day it is here in Grayland, Washington.
Awesome day.
You served this up, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah, I made a couple calls to God and worked it out.
Well, Dan, if we had a camera on you of what you've done since you woke up this morning till now, this might be the most relaxing part of your day because
I finally get to sit.
You have you have a cold beverage to my right.
Yeah.
But tell me your thoughts about this event. Again, it's an annual event. It's going so well already, and it's only the first day.
Yeah, it's been great. Today the surf was really good, especially earlier in the day. Sun's been out all day. We've been actually fogged in for the last couple of days, and I was a little concerned about it. But today we woke up, came down to the beach. It was beautiful, no fog. Just an awesome day.
Yeah, it's spectacular. And Randy, I know that you've been coming into this event, and I know that your family enjoys the event.
Yes.
Built around amateurs at first,
It
right?
is.
And then you've got the pros on Sunday.
Yeah.
But this is a great event for the breeding of future riders.
It is.
Is this kind of where you honed your beginnings?
It is actually. This was the very first competition I ever did back in 2012. Me and my brother just kind of shot up here and kind of gave it our all. And Brandon came home with first. I came home with second. And I guess
we were all like, who are these
hooked
guys?
Since then.
Yeah, who are these guys,
Yeah.
right?
It came out of nowhere.
It's an awesome event. I do have to say though, I think this is the first time we've ever seen the sky coming up to Grayland.
Yeah. Well, last year, you weren't here last year, right?
I was here last year. It was raining during
Saturday.
Saturday. It was raining. We were sitting in our rental car, and I was just praying to God Dan wouldn't call my name to go ride.
Well, now you're hoping he calls your name, right?
Now we're hoping to ride.
Yeah.
We
You
had
just
some
got out of the
beautiful
water about a half hour ago.
I did. We had the pro qualifying. Everything went pretty good. I had one pretty big bail. I tried to do a no-handed barrel roll, and my handlebars kind of left me, so.
You were rolling up the windows there.
Oh, I was rolling up the windows, and I ended up standing up, and it was about waist deep. I walked over to my ski, fired up, and took right back off and kept going. So.
Well, you talk about, you jokingly say that, but it is an extremely aggressive action sport, and there's danger involved, obviously. You guys have water safety in the water at all times. But what I want to say is that you ride. I mean, we caught you riding today, and it's part of being an event director is that you know what these guys feel at all times.
Yep.
Can you tell that angle of it?
Yeah, for me, I probably wouldn't do this event if I wasn't a rider myself. This actual spot that we're sitting at is our riding spot. Yeah. I have a group of riders called the West Coast Surf Riders, and at any given time, there's 8 or 10 of us down here on this beach every other weekend in the summertime riding. And the idea for the event came from, hey, let's have a contest. It'll be fun. Yeah. And then it progressively grew, and I still have all the love in the world for the sport that I ever did, and I still ride all the time. I compete in all kinds of different events, flat water surf events, and I have a great time.
It's amazing.
Yeah, my extended family.
I have to say, speaking of family, I have to say congratulations to Dan. His oldest daughter just graduated and on her way to college. Going to be in the medical field, so congratulations. I'm sure she's probably hoping that she doesn't ever have to give you any type of radiology, right, in this sport. But Randy, you have obviously suffered some injuries over the years.
Oh, yes.
And even though you guys wear helmets, I don't think spectators realize how difficult it is what you guys do and how easy you make it look as a professional. Can you tell us about that?
I mean, it definitely is, it plays a major toll on your body. A lot of the impacts we're taking is basically jumping off a roof from 15, 20 feet up and landing on the ski. The skis float really well, so when they hit the water and we land on top of it, it's like throwing a piece of plywood out and jumping on a piece of plywood. Yeah. It's not like you're diving in the water. Right. when I bailed today, it kind of was, because I kind of just went in on my back, and it's like doing a backflip from a second-story building. But you feel a little sore, but you always can get back to it.
Yeah.
I came from motocross before this and suffered 6 knee surgeries, so I thought
many?
I'd 6.
6.
So I thought I'd try something a little easier on my body, but turns out I think I was wrong.
Yeah, you do scrape up some things, right?
Yeah.
When you think about the new riders coming up, because you were that guy in 2012, right?
Yeah.
And now I understand we've got some young riders. I think we have a pretty hot shot 14-year-old out here this weekend. Your thoughts about, do you ever get together with them? Because one thing I did hear in the PA today, Mark Gomez was saying about, this is a community event. Hey, if somebody's ski breaks, let's go help them so we can move the sport along.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you guys do as mentors to the young riders.
And it does. We have a group called the Pismo Free Riders that we ride with all the time, and several of them are up here right now competing. A couple of them for their second time, but last year was their first time competing, and it's the same thing. They're out there shaking in their boots, so nervous they don't know what's going on, and we do our best to explain it and help them get their skis in and out of the water. Since we've been around a little bit, we know what breaks and why, so we try and teach them what might be going on with their ski and show them how to fix it. So
the progression of the sport, as we see the big bad
Tanner's here.
Tanner, that's right, Tanner Thomas had to make his appearance on the show somehow.
Yes.
But your thoughts about the progression of the sport, because back in the day, which wasn't too long ago, a backflip was a pretty big deal. Now there's so many other additions to what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I mean, the first year of the Grayland Open, nobody was doing any backflips. That was in 2009. I think there was one guy that did a flip in 2010, and then 2011 it started pouring on and people started doing bigger tricks, and then aftermarket companies started building holes, so it kind of started really expanding when the hole manufacturers started coming out with holes that are better in the surf than what you can buy off the showroom floor from Kawasaki or Yamaha.
Yeah.
And those holes make such a huge difference in the surf. Yeah, it's what really has kind of grown the sport.
Technology's helped us a ton.
Randy, can I ask you this question? Because we've talked a lot about it, and I think Dan is such a great ambassador. He's laying down the foundation for other smart guys like him to be able to take what he's done here in Grayland and duplicate in other parts of the world. And I say the world because it is a worldwide sport. Why isn't this sport more popular with the media and with television? I'm a television guy. I have fallen in love with it.
I know.
What the heck is going on?
We don't know. We're at a loss ourselves.
Yeah.
Dan's really lucky up here that the county and everybody works with him really well. We've tried to do stuff at Pismo, but Pismo wants like $50,000 for a permit just to hold the competition at their event or at their place, and nobody's got that kind of money just for one competition.
So if you're a Toyota, if you're a Chevy, if you're an energy drink, this is your demographic.
It is.
What are you waiting for, right?
That's what we don't know. We just got sponsored by Monster. Our team did. So Freeform got sponsored by Monster, and I know they're starting to like what we're doing. So I guess all we can do is keep showing them what we're doing and hoping one day they bite onto it and come out and try and help us out a lot.
It's tremendous. And Dan, what do you say? I know you have a riders meeting tomorrow morning at 10. I'm reminding myself of that in case I stay at the winery too much tonight in Grayland. But what do you say to the professional riders? Do you ever take them aside and say, hey guys, you're the mentors to the young guys, or do you ever have those type of conversations? Or
yeah, we have those conversations a lot actually. Leading up to the event, I'll contact people like Randy and Brandon and Mark Gomez and basically all the pro riders. Like they weren't always pros. They started here as amateurs, and then they now they're top riders in the world. So we're good friends. We talk like, hey, we got this new up and coming guy. I'm gonna work with him one-on-one. So he make sure he gets some on the water training, because they don't get to come out and ride with 8 of the top guys in the world every weekend when they're riding wherever they ride. They're from all over the place. So it's pretty exciting for the young new up and coming guys to be able to hang with these guys, not only like after the event, but like get some on the water actual training with them.
And you can see that in the eyes of these young riders when they're hanging around the likes of you, Zach, Mark, and everybody. Last question for you before we let you go. Words of advice. I always like to ask this question of our professional riders, our professional athletes. Words of advice to the young people out there that want to follow in your footsteps in this sport.
The biggest advice has to be ski maintenance, because if you're not maintained, then you're not going to be on the water. Don't be afraid to ask questions. All of us pro riders, we were in the same shoes just a couple years ago, and we've learned a lot the hard way. So come out. Dan's local spot, our local spot. I mean, there's several people here from the East Coast. They got their own, you know, little crews that they ride with out there. Just come out, either meet up on Facebook, internet, or something, but everybody's willing to help somebody out.
It's a fantastic sport. I want to wish you the best of luck this weekend.
Well, thank you.
You know, stay healthy.
Try to.
Yeah, and I know the Lawlors will be here in very much presence, rooting from the beach.
Well, thank you so much.
You got it. Yeah, we'll be back with more right after this. I want to thank Randy Lawlor for joining us. Dan Lindgren will stay on the set, and then we're going to talk about the Masters class when we come back. Stay with us.
Thinking of that special getaway? Look no further than unforgettable Grays Harbor County. Whether it's outdoor adventure, relaxing at a luxurious beachfront resort, or enjoying our exquisite coastal cuisine, Grays Harbor is the perfect destination, no matter what the season. Visit our website for your next getaway.
Hello everybody, welcome back. This segment is to prove to all of you, you are never too old to get involved in this sport, free ride jet ski. Joining us now, along with Dan Lindgren, is Chris Batten, representing the Masters class out of Boise, Idaho. He was jokingly saying I might be the most inland rider of anyone. But Chris, welcome to the show and thank you for joining Dan and I. Dan, first of all, how do you know Chris, and tell me about that relationship, because obviously he's here for a very important reason.
Well, I can't even remember the first time we rode together. He comes to our events, our surf events here on the west side, obviously because he doesn't have any surf over where he lives. And so, I don't know, it's been quite a few years, maybe 7 years.
No, it actually hasn't been that many.
Hasn't been that long?
No, it's this is my 4th year at the Grayland Open.
Did we meet here?
We did.
Okay, so we
Yep.
met here.
Yeah.
But we've been to a lot of other rides together. So.
Yeah, we
One
instantly
event
kinda
goes
hit
into
off.
the
Yeah.
next.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and, you know, we've been great friends ever since.
And he's representing the Masters class.
Yeah.
What does that mean for the people that don't understand what that is?
So the Masters class it's a class in the Grayland Open, which means 40 years and older. So all the guys that compete in that class are over 40 years in age. So they range anywhere from 40 to close to 60.
Yeah.
You know, a couple guys up in their 50s. So.
And Chris, I know that you are not a day older than 40 years old, so congratulations on that. Yeah, but look, you're here, and this is a phenomenal event, and I'm pinching myself right now because the weather is absolutely perfect. Thank you for serving that up. But your love for it, can you tell us why you do this sport and basically how you got involved?
It was kind of interesting the way I got involved is, you know, growing up on a jet ski in Idaho, I would go out and ride the lakes with some of my friends, and they would put the buoys out and they wanted to race the buoys. And I was always the guy off on the side kind of trying to do tricks and
Trying to jump the buoy.
Yeah, trying to do different things with the jet ski, and realized that racing just wasn't my bag.
Yeah.
And ended up at a surf competition and just watching, and instantly knew this is what I wanted to do.
Wow.
And started traveling over to the ocean and riding and kind of learning the basics, and sunk a few skis along the way.
Sure.
And then I showed up at the Grayland Open, not knowing a lot of people. I knew some of the names and some of the faces, but I didn't really know the people. And the Grayland Open, all of a sudden, it was a small enough event in the early days that, you know, everybody introduces themselves and is like, okay, well, you're competing, right?
Yeah.
I had no intention of competing whatsoever, but with a little pressure, I think Mark Gomez was a monkey on my back. I signed up,
Wow.
got to know everybody really well, and the first time I put on that vest and got out there in the surf in the competition, it just kind of changed. It was a new world, and I enjoyed it so much that I started joining pretty much every event I could go to, and I've been back to the Grayland every year since then.
That's a fantastic story, and I think part of maybe what got you involved too, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I feel it. I have a couple new crew members that came up this weekend. I said, the vibe of this event is one of the best vibes of any event that you will appear at or that you will go to or participate. Your thoughts, because it's the community of riders that celebrate this sport, and that's very unique.
It is. It's really unusual to get into a class of people that range from the best professionals in the world. I mean, these guys are the top tier riders, all the way down to the guy that's he's never been surfing in his life, and he shows up to a competition, and you can see in their eyes and in their mannerisms, they're hesitant, they're nervous, they're kind of afraid to talk to everybody, and the pros get that. Yeah. So they introduce themselves, they're there to help you, they're there to teach you anything you want to learn. And so it takes that first-time rider and welcomes them in really quickly to where by the end of the weekend they feel right at home.
Yeah.
You know, and it is very rare to see that in any sport, especially a top-tier sport like this.
You know, a great event director knows the right people to select to be on his side when we do a TV show. You picked a good one.
I knew Chris would do awesome.
So, I mean, when you look at what Chris is doing and what you're doing, you're both in the master's class, right?
Nope.
No?
I'm 38, so I'm not quite there yet.
You're not there yet.
Yeah, I'm just a little one.
Man, I'm thinking you got a kid that graduated from high school.
Yeah, I started
I'm nowhere
early.
near that. Well, he's not even there yet.
Yeah.
He's afraid to compete in the Masters class. So.
Yeah. I got to compete against this guy.
You just blew my whole line of questioning on that. But so, what do you recommend to the guys that are going to be master class, or try to get somebody like Chris? If Chris isn't around, how do you convince a guy that is over 40? Hey, come out and check this out.
Really, it's just a lot of nudging and you know, talking around the campfire and giving them a hard time and kind of like just forcing them into it.
Yeah,
and then once
really
they do it, they're like, oh yeah, I'll do it every year.
Yeah.
You know, like a couple guys last year, so they're like, no. I was like, no, you have to.
Yeah.
And they did it, and they're back in it this year, competing.
It's
again.
amazing.
It's just fun to be a part of the event.
Dan, I am, as I said last year, I am sitting on the most expensive chair that I ever sit on when I do interviews, and this is Zach's ski, right? And that's a brand new Blosian that's never been touched in the water, never been fired up yet. And I think the one you were sitting on has recently been fired up, but it doesn't have a lot of water time. For the people out there, they can range from how much to how much, and how do you afford something like this?
I would say for a good competitive freeride ski, you're going to spend, $15,000 on the low, well, about $16,000 on the low side, and that's just a basic, nothing too crazy with the motor or pump or anything like that. Freeride ski with an aftermarket hull, you're going to be around $16,000. And you step all the way up to something like this, which is a high end. This is about a $35,000 ski, custom painted, every high end part that you can imagine. A big 964 motor in it, and yeah, this is a really well set up ski. This is top of the line.
So Chris, if we go under the hood, which we do in the Grayland Open TV show, we learn a lot about the intricacies in the motor. It does make a difference of what hull you have, everything that you have, right? I mean,
it really does.
If you're trying to do a particular trick, if you change the setup, you might be able to pull that trick off.
Absolutely, and it's the progression of anything. When how you start, the equipment you start on is not going to be what you finish on, and I mean that's anything in life. The first time I came out, I had a basically stock Kawasaki. Now I'm riding a top line Richter with a big motor and a big pump. Because what happened is I just found that all of a sudden my limitations had exceeded the equipment I was on. Now my equipment exceeds my ability, which that's not a bad problem to have.
No, catch up to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Grow into it.
Well, before I let you go, I want you, if you will, because you've been a great ambassador for Dan, if you could look into her camera, and if there's a gentleman or a woman on the other side, because this is a sport for ladies as well, and we want to welcome them. If you can look at them on the other side of the camera and do your pitch to invite them out to get involved in what you're doing.
It's really basic and simple. It's the best time you're ever going to have. I try to convince some of the people back home that if you just come out once, and if you like jet skis, if you come out once and ride surf in one of these events, it will change your view of jet skiing, for the rest of your life. It's going to be a game changer, and you will be looking forward to every moment you can get back onto that surf. So
you can't say it any better than that.
No.
You just got to have a daredevil mentality.
That's right.
He does bungee jumping for a living.
I can't imagine the other stuff that you do and that you've done. That's a whole nother show.
We keep it on the down low.
Yeah. I know. But again, you did a great job. Thank you very much on behalf of Dan for being on this part of the Grayland Open. And Dan, obviously, you know how I feel about what you have done. I'm a big ambassador for you. If you could maybe look into the camera and invite the folks to Grayland that maybe haven't been here and experience this great community event.
I say it's probably the most intimate contest of its kind. And when I say intimate, I mean you get to actually really mingle with everybody. It's not so blown up and huge to where, you know, everybody's separated. We all hang out at night together, you know, in one spot, so everybody gets to, you know, just bounce around the room and hang out. The same thing on the beach. It's a really relaxed, fun environment, and I would definitely encourage anybody that's into jet skiing to come and check it out.
Yeah, you will definitely not mistake a good time for this. This is a fantastic time and something that you should all experience. And one thing I love about it is I get to go up here, get a 4x and drive on the beach. You just can't do that anywhere. But I want to thank, of course, Dan, and I want to thank Chris, and I want to thank the people at Grayland Open and the tourism board and everybody involved, the county and the city. They have done a fantastic job of hosting this event, and one of the main reasons why is they got a great leader in their pack. You can look around and watch the Grayland Open in its full right here on AIM Sports TV. For Dan and for Chris, I'm Paul. Thank you so much for watching. Now I will get a cold beverage.